Hey lovely listeners, welcome back to the Creative Juggle Joy podcast. I'm Kaylie, your creative business mentor, digital strategist and course creator, and also a toddler mum over here in North Wales.
And I'm Delores, digital art educator, artist, grandma, and former high school teacher, coming to you from kind of chilly Manitoba. Today, we're going to dig into some well-meaning business advice that just didn't work for us and probably isn't working for a lot of other women, mums, caregivers, or creatives. People like me I started earlier, but like at this point in my life, I'm a little bit older and I have all kinds of stuff going on, just like you do, Kaylie.
Yes. We're not here to throw shade. But we are here to be honest about what's held us back, what we've had to unlearn, and what we're doing differently now. And what doesn't plainly work for some people in our situations or similar.
Yeah.
Part 1, the hustle culture hangover is on. Oh, hustle culture. I tried to do hashtag all the things right after having a baby.
Oh, gosh.
Trying to come up with content and post daily, trying to follow strict content routine, staying up too late, trying to keep up, trying to create as many products as possible. And every time I couldn't keep up, the guilt hits hard. I felt like I was failing or falling behind, letting myself and my family down. And eventually I realised slow doesn't mean being stuck. It means sustainable. I won't pretend I still have it together because I am still working it out. Especially this year, it's just been one after another domino effect.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are times when I am just getting everything together and think I have it all together, and bam, life happens again and I'm back to square one because I've got a toddler and it changes, From baby to crawling to walking to him having tantrums. There's been so many different transitions. And it's hard. And
I don't think it was built for us. Like this hustle culture was not built for people like us. Like for me, in my 40s, when I became a single mom and I had to juggle my family and full-time teaching, and I started my side hustle, which was selling at craft fairs and manufacturing my own products, I felt like all the business advice assumed that I had endless hours and zero responsibilities.
Yeah.
But, my creative energy needed space. It took me years to learn that moving steadily, not quickly, was my version of success. And I have the benefit of looking back at that right now. You're right in the middle of it right now, but I'm looking back at it. And really, sometimes it only happens after the fact. You look back and you see it,
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely one thing. Yeah. That doesn't work for some. And you've got to remember it's not being sexist, but women and men are different.
Yeah.
And I know there's people going to be arguing with me on that fact, but we are different, and there is studies on it that women and men's brains work differently. We work in a different way, and a lot of the business culture has been created by men and how they work and how they have routines. And at the end of the day, we're very much caregivers for women, and it doesn't work for our life. It's not built around our life, and that business advice sometimes just does not work, and we have to find a different way.
Yeah.
And so let's bust this myth right here. You do not need to hustle harder to be worthy. You need a pace that works for you and your life and your circumstances. You may be in a different season to you were a year ago, and it doesn't work. So that's one. And then part 2, it's just mindset trap. I'll give that to you, Delores.
Okay. Have you ever heard the phrase, it's your mindset holding you back? Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
Like it can be, I hate that one so much. It can be so dismissive because for a lot of us, it's not our mindset. It could be time poverty, like literally time poverty. Your time is completely filled It can be, I'm thinking back to when I was fighting cancer, and I think back to when my husband was fighting cancer. So it could be health related, it could be caregiving, it could be your age. Like that is a big factor. And right now, my community and my followers, it's part of what has changed in our life. We are different now that we're older. It could be neurodivergence. It could be health issues. It could be fatigue. I do believe in mindset work, but it really has to be paired with realistic support, with community, and with really thinking things through and having a strategy.
Yes, absolutely. And like I am all for mindset work. Like I am very much trying to do that myself, and it is a process, and things change, and you will always hit mindset blocks, and you need to overcome them. But it is not just about that. There were times during my pregnancy and now toddlerhood where I felt and do still feel like sometimes it's my fault, and that I just can't keep up. And I know it's not true, but when you're hearing you just have to believe in yourself while running on 2 hours of sleep, that doesn't feel very helpful.
No.
I am learning to balance mindset with planning and grace, and it just happens. Shit happens. I'm sorry, but shit happens, and life will throw crap at you, and you have to deal with it. And you can't just drop everything in your personal life to do work. And yes, sometimes your success suffers, but progress will happen if you take small steps and just get back to it when you can. And that my life needs to look more like a blended smoothie rather than a perfect balancing act. No, I got the blended life from the Product Boss, I think it was. There's a brand called the Product Boss, and I got that from her from a recent thing, and I was like, that's just perfect. It just sums up life.
Yeah, mindset does matter. I totally get that, but it's not the magic wand. Your circumstances really matter too. And God knows things aren't 100% predictable all the time. I remember one craft sale season, you're not going to believe this one, when I went out to my shop to cut a couple of pieces of MDF because I was doing plaque mounted artwork at the time. So I was doing my own artwork. And probably because my mom, I wasn't fully present with what I was doing, because I was probably thinking of all the million of other things I was trying to get done before the sale, probably that weekend. But I just made a mistake, and the piece of wood shot right back at me, and it broke my arm.
Oh, so, yeah, you've told me about this one.
Oh, my God. And we were in the middle of show season. Like, literally that weekend we had a show, and I had to go, straight into the urgent care and get a cast put on my arm. And it wasn't like I could then sleep all the next day. I was also working full time as a teacher. You cannot plan for those things.
No,
talk about needing to pivot.
Yes, yeah. It's like I'm listening to I've listened to podcasts and some audiobooks on mindset. And yes, I do have blocks. And yes, I do need to work on them. But there's also circumstances I can't change, like my partner getting sick, my toddler getting sick last week. And for a whole week, I was literally just dealing with sick and laundry. And I was just in the midst of it and contemplating my sanity.
Oh, God.
And yes, part of it is mindset, but it's also like in that moment, you can't change that. I can't work on my business while that's all going on, and that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another one we have to kind of, as parents, as mothers, as as women and creatives, that sometimes we have to look at these and go, okay, is it actually that, or is it something else?
Yeah.
And then the other one is just show up online.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the pressure to be on video 24/7, or even on social media 24/7.
Yeah.
As a mum, I often feel like I should be showing up with reels, live stories, even when I was sick, exhausted, or had a toddler clinging to my leg, which he seems to have been doing a lot this recently. It's trying to stop me going out the gate and what have you. It takes a while, but I found what works for me. Sometimes voiceover reels, still images, posts with thoughtful captions, and I'm not consistent with that right now. I don't have to be constantly on camera to connect. There are
Yeah.
plenty of people that are doing the same thing, and I am working other strategies into my business where I'm not having to show up online all the time and on social media consistently. Yes, I do need to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that sometimes your time doesn't allow for that, or your circumstances don't allow for it.
Yeah, I've heard that so much, and I've been told that video is the only way to grow online.
Mm.
But it's just not me. I'm not super comfortable doing that kind of stuff. And I think that I don't know if it's just a bit of a bias, but I feel like I'm invisible right now in a youth dominated platform. I like, for me, it works more to be teaching, to be writing blog posts, to be creating audio and doing slow content.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, you don't have to force yourself into someone else's content box.
No, exactly. And there are so many ways to be visible without being on camera 24/7. I've seen a lot of it recently where there's people doing faceless YouTube channels and they are getting thousands of subscribers a day. And I just think, well, you know what? If that can happen for some people, yes, obviously it won't work for everybody. And yes, you still need to be authentic. You still need to be showing up for your audience as well. But yeah. I think as long as you have your picture and you are connecting with them and you're hitting the messaging correctly, you don't need to be showing up 24/7 on camera, and you can find other ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, you're too late, or you should have started sooner.
Yes, I know. This one's really personal. As you know, I mean, I worked as a graphic designer all of my adult life. And I started my digital art and art licensing business in my 50s, if you can believe it, in my 50s. And I've definitely felt, I think, maybe it's me, but it's like subtle ageism, like that attitude and the assumption that tech or online business isn't for me. And here's the truth. Older creatives bring incredible life experience. I've been working with software programs since they hit the market, like in the 1980s. So I have decades more experience than some people who are just kind of breaking into the scene right now. I think that what I offer is incredible life experience and clarity and storytelling depth,
Yeah.
We're not late. We're not late at all. We're just seasoned.
Yeah, I love our conversations because I can have a conversation with you because you've got that life experience. Whereas, I'm not going to mention names, but there's a couple of people in my circle that obviously they're in my circle, but they do nothing. They do nothing with their life. So it's very difficult to talk to them. They're older, but they don't have much to talk, or I don't know what to talk to them about.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you can bring such value and sometimes people don't listen. But I think a lot of people are opening to listen to people that are older, obviously, because it's kind of that. But I've felt the flip side of it as well. Like I had to catch up with everyone else whilst raising my tiny human.
Yeah.
Or that I have the imposter syndrome as maybe I don't have enough experience. So I have that as well, where I feel like sometimes I don't have the experience, or who am I to actually be teaching this? Whereas I do have that experience from other places. And I know about marketing. I've taught myself about marketing. I do very much a lot of learning, a lot of research, and I look what's right, what's going on, what's working for everybody else. And I know how to translate that into a course. So yes, I might not do a handmade business anymore, but I have done a handmade business. I know the struggles, I know the challenges, I know what I had to go through. And yes, I had to pivot and change. But now I am actually doing digital products. I am doing scalable income streams. So I know what I'm talking about. But sometimes that mindset will creep up on me and I'll just be like, do I really know what I'm talking about here?
I think you're in a perfect position, honestly. Personally, if looking back, and if I could go and talk to myself at your age, I would be saying, just start. Don't be scared. Like, just go for it, because I wish that I had started sooner. I didn't really know about art licensing. Here I was teaching a graphic design course, and I'd been teaching for 30 years, and I didn't learn about art licensing until it literally fell into my lap. And that's when I started to learn more about it. And so I wish that I had learned more about it and done exactly what you said, research and figuring things out. Of course, we didn't have the internet quite as active back then to find out anything about art licensing. But now that it's out there, my recommendation to anybody, no matter what age, is to just get started. Yeah. And the more you put yourself out there, the better it's going to be. So let's break this myth for good. There's no such thing as too late, and there's no such thing as, what's the word I want to use for it? It's like there is no perfect time. There is no specific time that's perfect to do this. Just start.
Yeah, that's where I've realised there's no one right timeline, and there's only your timeline that can work for you.
Yeah.
So, bad advice we've heard, or advice that hasn't fitted us as well, that we haven't talked about. So let's talk about niching down. And I do talk about this, and it's because that is advice. It's not totally wrong, but it's loaded.
Yeah.
I've pivoted a few times now, made niche adjustments, changed my messaging, rebranded, and all of it was part of the process. Your niche can and should evolve as you gain experience. Follow your passions, adapt to life and industry changes, evolve your products, your offers, evolve your audience. You may have more than one. And some people thrive with broad niches, like women in business, because they deeply understand what those women want and know how to communicate it clearly. Whereas I struggled with that when I first started my new business. So really, it's not about boxing yourself in. It's about clarity, not restriction, and messaging is what matters. And yes, if you try to speak to everyone, you do end up speaking to no one. So that is true. But you can be multi-passionate and strategic. So there's so much bro marketing out there that doesn't take any of this into account. And I've had advice pushed at me by mentors, both men and women, that just didn't fit. And sometimes knowing better, I've repeated that advice myself to others. But we're all learning, and I can at least hold my hands up and say I have said that sometimes because I've regurgitated it from somebody else, thinking it was correct, and then realizing later down the line, actually, no, this doesn't work for me. It's not going to work for some other people as well. Yes, it does work for some, but it doesn't always work for others. And you need to at least be able to acknowledge that advice, that it might not work. And it is a big experiment when it comes to marketing.
Yeah. When I first entered the field, the advice everyone seemed to swear by is that if you just worked hard enough and you built a strong portfolio, success would follow.
Yeah.
While hard work and a good portfolio are important, I've learned that in a constantly evolving industry, this just isn't enough. The creative world in general isn't static, so trends and tools and client expectations shift so much that talent alone won't carry you forward. I know so many talented artists, and some of them have just never gotten anywhere with it. And I don't know why. It's tragic, honestly. So that was one. Another piece of outdated advice I often heard was just specialize. Focus on one thing and master it. Well, this might have been true decades ago. I remember my graphic design teacher, for 3 years, all he did was illustrate shoes. Just the thought of it, like, I can't even Can you imagine that? Every day you're
Oh,
illustrating a pair of shoes, because at the time there was no photography and they were
oh.
literally painting the styles, like good wash drawings of the shoes. 3 years though. Can you imagine? And now it's just different. It's just not like that. Clients
Yeah.
want creators who can wear multiple hats. One day, graphic design, next day, social media strategy. And I think you just need to be adaptable and explore new skills. That's more important for me than sticking like really rigidly to one path. And I think it has served me well in my business.
Yes.
When I was younger, like this is one of the things that oh gosh, I just wish I could go back and hit the undo button on this one. But I was told early on, just leave the business side to others. And that's advice I regret following for way too long, because understanding how to market yourself and negotiate contracts and set boundaries and price your work it's really critical. I mean, I've had to learn all of that stuff in
Yeah.
order to make this creative business a business that can be sustained.
Yeah. Knowing about it is crucial.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, they don't teach it in school.
Well,
And that is such I can't even think of the word, a misuse of power for
yeah.
for the government to do, because they know that if you don't have that, it's going to be so much harder for people to set up businesses.
Yeah.
And yeah, they may think that's actually, oh yeah, we do want more businesses, more economy and all that, but they don't want so many people learning how to actually do business from the get-go. They don't want that, because they will see it as the economy will just go. I'm not, bear in mind, I'm not political or anything like that. So yeah, but that is how, it's how it's set up. It's set up for corporations and things to really
Yeah.
nail it. They want the small person doing the small person jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And marketing is crucial. It is crucial for you to market your business. So if you really don't want to do it and you really just want to do the creating, I'm sorry, then business is not for you and you will not sell.
Yeah.
So you will need to learn it. You can't just pass it on to somebody.
Or have somebody that you partner up with that can do that end of it for you. But
yeah, but you do need to know the ins and outs of it.
Absolutely.
The basics, at least, because otherwise, because at the end of the day, if that person that you've then partnered with disappears,
yeah,
you then don't have that fallback.
Yeah.
Yes, you could get somebody else in, but if you don't know what you want and how you want to market, then they can't do that for you.
Yeah.
Because if you bring somebody new in and they don't understand it, then it will be very hard to translate that into marketing that will work for your business.
Yeah.
And then there's the morning routine myth.
Oh, yes. That morning routine.
I am not a morning person. I live with a toddler and a partner who finishes night shifts just after 7 a.m. in the morning. So mornings, they're chaos. His tea time is breakfast here. So like he'll come in at 7 a.m. in the morning, he will go for a shower and he'll come down and then he'll want his dinner or his tea, and he'll take it to bed and then he'll go to bed. So he's then into bed in bed till like 5 in the afternoon. And then he's getting up, having his breakfast and going to work. So our life is, I'm trying to explain to a toddler, yeah, why is daddy going, yes, it doesn't work for some people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And even before I had a toddler, mornings is not my thing. I've never been the one that loved getting up early in the morning. I hated it. And I still have to get up with an alarm. Well, I say that, my cats wake me up before my alarm usually. So yeah, they're chaos. And sometimes I work after bedtime. Sometimes I'm too fried. So as Delores can attest to that, like she'll be talking to me and I'll be not understanding what the hell we're trying to do. Sometimes my toddler doesn't go down, or he wakes up again crying before I go to bed. Yeah. So that for me is real life, and I've definitely had those stretches where personal life takes priority and I fall behind in work. And that is a season at the moment I seem to be in, or period I'm in. And I've questioned it, if I should keep going, if I can keep going. But deep down, I know I can. And I know I'm making a difference, even when life pushes me back a bit.
Don't you dare quit. What would I do without you? Oh, but I really get it. I do get it. For me, I am a morning person. I get up early. I feel full of energy in the morning. And by about 3:00 in the afternoon, my eyes are drooping. So we're the opposites. We're literally the opposites. But I think that for us, we just have to do what works for us. And, days like this, some days, Wednesdays, my husband works until 8 p.m. So it's a great time for me to be recording, doing like this, doing our podcasts, or for me to be recording classes. And also he works Saturdays. So that's also a good time for me. So I just make it work, and you make it work. We do the best we can. And that's all we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just how it is.
You know what's a big distraction for me is the internet. As amazing as it is, it can add pressure too.
Oh, so true.
I don't know. Have you noticed it lately? But it just seems like every day there's something new in my inbox, and it's like that shiny object syndrome. It's just like, oh, that sounds so good. Like I should do that. And then I get people saying to me, oh, I'm doing this and it's so great, that I want to jump on board that. And it's so easy to get distracted. And especially if you are, like we are, multi-passionate. I feel like I'm supposed to focus on one thing. And I just finished reading The One Thing, the book called The One Thing. And I see the logic in it, but I can't see how it could work
for us.
I don't know how I can do it. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to do my annual planning. We were just laughing about this before this podcast, is that I've been trying to do annual planning since before I left for Florida, which means it was in November, and here it is April, and I still haven't done my whole, my real,
detailed one.
Yeah, I just haven't. I don't know.
Yeah, mine's changed, so...
Well, one of the biggest lessons, I think, is that early in my career, I was conditioned to never say no. And it was all about keeping clients happy at all costs, getting underpaid, working impossible deadlines, putting my own ideas on the back burner. And over time, I realized that, really, I couldn't run the business now without doing this, is that setting limits isn't unprofessional.
No.
It's actually necessary and I think that's what the book, The One Thing, was, to really give it clarity. It's necessary, really necessary for the longevity and for building respect as a collaborator, and not just to take orders. We have to compartmentalize to a certain degree so that we aren't jumping off and doing all kinds of other things, and getting the things done that we need to get done in order to run our businesses.
Yes. Yeah. And I still struggle with it now. Obviously I've got client demands yourself, and I've got my own business to do, and then I've got toddler life I'm going through. And the partner sometimes says something, and it's just like, I really did not want to hear that right now. It's not the right thing to be saying to me right now. So there is times when my mind wants to tell people to F off. So, yes. My brain does not compute. I've had to learn that about myself the hard way. That if I'm forced to work on just one big project, especially one that feels more logical than creative, I get bored, I get distracted, and I abandon it. Having a few things on the go that I can rotate between keeps my brain engaged. Sure, I might not finish things as quickly, or maybe I'd be more successful if I was focused harder on just one thing and getting that done. But that's not how I'm wired, unfortunately. That's just that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I've stopped chasing someone else's blueprint, and instead I build around my energy and my capacity. And yes, I still have my doubts sometimes, but I know I can work it through and eventually I will crack it.
Yeah, right now I'm focusing on sustainability, support. And right now I'm really focusing on that progress over perfection. And I give myself permission to do the things in my own rhythm at this point. So I agree. I think I need several projects going and I need to be able to switch from one thing to another. And I mean, we adapt advice to our seasons in life, our values, our life in general, what's happening in our lives, what's happening with the people in our lives. And I think that's what makes it work for me anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to just adapt how we feel and what's going on in our lives, because it doesn't always work. Like, I've had to kind of, people say about batching and creating like set times for things, and I can't do that. It doesn't work for me on my life. Mm-hmm. Like, I have a toddler at home that I have to work around, and he will just come over and close my laptop because he wants me to play with him or he wants my attention. I can't just sit and focus for 2 hours and do something. So I have to wait in the times that he goes to bed, and sometimes that still doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And mornings, like, I will try to get some morning work done, but sometimes it doesn't work because he's in he's in a bad mood. He woke up on the wrong side of the cot or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, my brain just doesn't work sometimes with working on one project the whole time and trying to finish that. So I will do it where I know, all right, yes, it's not completely wrote down, but I will have it set somewhere that this is what I will be working on. I'll work on Delores' stuff in the morning, or I will work on it in the evening. I'll record it when Aston's in bed at night, and then I will edit in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I have to work. I do different things at different times.
Yeah.
And I just have to work it that way. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does.
Totally.
Yeah, so if this episode resonated, please share it with your creative friends who may also feel discouraged or overwhelmed by all the one-size-fits-all advice out there at the moment.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your stories about bad advice. Like, if you've got something that somebody has said, come share it with us on Threads or Instagram or even email. Maybe we'll even feature your insights in a future episode. We're always looking for ideas. We're always writing things down, things we'd like to do in the future. Even class ideas, if you ever have anything like that, definitely pass it on. I'd love to hear. I'm in recording mode right now, so just throw the ideas at me, and if I can do them, I will. Meantime, keep creating, keep juggling, and most importantly, keep finding the joy in the process.